My name is Victoria Nash and I'm 38 years old. Last Saturday should have been a celebration. My parents' 40th wedding anniversary. A rented hall. White tablecloths. Fairy lights. About 50 guests, friends, relatives, people who'd watched me grow up. Instead, it became the night I realized just how cruel my parents could be. My daughter Emma sat at the kids' table, shoulders hunched, eyes down. She was 12, wearing her favorite blue dress, the one she'd picked days earlier because she wanted to look confident. She barely touched her food, just pushed peas around her plate like she wanted to disappear. Next to her sat my sister Rachel's daughter, Sophia. Same age. Total opposite. Sophia was loud, confident, laughing. Everyone knew her. Straight A's. Gifted program. Piano prodigy. The golden grandchild. Emma wasn't stupid. She was dyslexic. Reading didn't come easily to her. Words twisted. Letters flipped. School was a daily uphill climb, but she climbed it anyway. Quietly. Bravely. My parents never understood that. And worse, they never tried. Halfway through dinner, my mother stood up and clinked her champagne glass. That sharp sound sliced through the room. Everyone, she said, smiling. We'd like your attention. I felt it then. That tight pull in my stomach. Something was coming. We want to thank you all for celebrating 40 beautiful years with us, Mom continued. And we have some exciting news. My dad stood up beside her, hand on her shoulder. He looked proud. Almost smug. We've been thinking a lot about our legacy, he said. About what we're leaving behind. My eyes flicked to Emma. She looked up hopeful. Curious. And we've decided, Dad continued, smiling directly at Sophia, that our granddaughter Sophia will inherit the family home and the $250,000 trust fund we've established. The room erupted in applause. People stood. Glasses clinked. Rachel covered her mouth, pretending to be shocked, but I saw the satisfaction in her eyes. I didn't clap. I looked at Emma. Her face crumpled, not all at once but slowly like paper being crushed. Her lips trembled. She blinked fast, fighting tears she didn't want anyone to see. Rachel leaned over and whispered loudly, "Thank you so much. Sophia will treasure this legacy." I could barely breathe. Then my mother spoke again. "Now," she said, glancing toward Emma, "we love both our granddaughters." That word, but, hung in the air before she even said it. But Sophia has shown real promise. Real intelligence. She'll do something meaningful with this inheritance. My hands went cold. Dad nodded. "Emma's a sweet girl," he added casually. "But let's be honest." He looked straight at my daughter. "She's the dumb one. She'll probably be fine with a simple life." I swear the room tilted. "The dumb one." He said it. Out loud. In front of 50 people. About my 12-year-old child. Emma pushed her chair back and ran. I heard the bathroom door slam. Then crying, soft at first, then broken. I stood up instantly, but Rachel grabbed my arm. "Don't make a scene," she hissed. "They're just being practical." I pulled my arm free. Everyone was still applauding. Smiling. Celebrating. So I picked up a champagne glass. And clinked it hard with a fork. The room went silent. "I have an announcement too," I said. My voice didn't shake. But my heart was on fire. "You just told this room that my daughter is too dumb to deserve your legacy." Faces froze. My mother went pale. And that's when I decided. Everyone was finally going to learn who Emma really was. Before I tell you what I revealed next, and how it shattered everything they thought they knew, stay with me. Because this is where the truth changed the room forever. The room stayed silent. So quiet I could hear someone's fork clatter onto a plate. I took a slow breath and looked straight at my parents. "I want everyone here to know something about Emma," I said. Something my parents clearly never bothered to learn. My mother opened her mouth. "Victoria, this isn't." "Oh, it's the perfect time," I cut in. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. My hands were steady. My heart wasn't. "Last month," I said, lifting the screen so people nearby could see, "Emma entered the National Youth Science Competition." A few heads turned. Curiosity replaced discomfort. She built a water filtration system using recycled materials. Sand, charcoal, plastic bottles. It removes 98% of contaminants. Whispers rippled through the room. Out of 5,000 entries nationwide, I continued, my voice firm. She placed third. My father's smile vanished. My mother's face went white. I scrolled and held the phone higher. She also writes poetry, I said. Not for school. Not for fun. Real poetry. I tapped the screen again. She's had 3 poems published in literary magazines. Someone actually gasped. At 12 years old. I turned toward my sister. Sophia is talented. Truly. But Emma is not dumb. I looked back at my parents. She's dyslexic. There's a difference. My mother finally whispered, We didn't know. You didn't know, I snapped, because you never asked. The silence thickened. No one clapped now. No one smiled. You labeled her at 7 years old, I said, my voice sharper. And once you did, you were done with her. My dad shifted uncomfortably. Victoria, we were just being realistic. Realistic. I laughed once, short and bitter. You called a child dumb because her brain works differently. I turned toward the kids' table, toward the empty chair where Emma had been sitting. She struggles to read, I said. Yes. Every page is harder for her than it is for most kids. But she works twice as hard and she never gives up. My throat tightened, but I didn't stop. She spends hours studying science because she loves it. She researches water pollution, conservation. She wants to help people who don't have clean water. My mother's eyes filled with tears. And last week, I said slowly, something else happened. I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope. Wait. This, I said, holding it up, is a letter from MIT. That did it. The room erupted, not applause but shocked murmurs. They're starting a new summer program for gifted young scientists, I continued. Ages 12 to 15. Emma's project caught their attention. I swallowed hard. They invited her to apply. My father stared at the envelope like it might explode. MIT, someone whispered. Yes, I said. MIT, one of the best science schools in the world. I turned back to my parents. So when you say Emma doesn't deserve responsibility, when you say she's too dumb for your legacy, understand this. I pointed to the envelope. The world sees her brilliance. You just chose not to. My mother broke down crying. We're sorry. We didn't understand. You didn't want to understand, I replied quietly. It was easier to compare. Easier to pick a favorite. Rachel stood abruptly. Victoria, stop. This is embarrassing. For who? I asked. For the people who just insulted a child, or the ones being exposed? I faced my parents one last time. Keep your trust fund, I said. Keep your house. Their heads snapped up. Emma doesn't need your money. I turned toward the bathroom door. She needs dignity. She needs belief. And she's getting that from me. I walked away before they could respond. And that's when Emma stepped back into the room. Eyes red, face streaked with tears. Just in time for me to make the decision that would change everything. And what Emma said next, what she revealed to me in the car afterward, left me completely stunned. Stay with me. Emma stood frozen near the doorway. For a split second the room didn't exist. No guests. No parents. No whispers. Just my daughter. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her hands clenched at her sides like she was holding herself together by force. I crossed the room and knelt in front of her. Come on, baby, I said softly, holding out my hand. We're leaving. She looked past me to my parents, to my sister, to the faces that had just watched her get torn apart. Then she nodded and took my hand. As we walked toward the exit, I heard my father call out, Victoria, please. Let's talk about this. I didn't turn around. The night air outside felt colder than it should have. I helped Emma into the car, shut her door gently, then slid into the driver's seat. We sat there for a moment in silence. Finally she spoke. Mom. Yes, sweetheart. Her voice was small. Careful. Did you mean what you said in there? I looked at her. Every word. She stared down at her lap. About me being smart. My chest tightened. Emma, you are brilliant. You always have been. She shook her head. But I can't read like other kids. Grandpa said that means I'm dumb. I felt something crack inside me. Dyslexia doesn't mean dumb, I said. It means your brain works differently. That's all. She was quiet for a moment, then whispered, Then why does everyone think I am? Because they don't see how hard you work, I said. They don't see what I see. She leaned her forehead against the window. Do you really think I could get into that MIT thing? I smiled through tears. I think you can do anything you set your mind to. She nodded slowly. Then she said something that made my heart stop. I already did. I turned to her. What? She reached into her backpack and pulled out her phone. Her hands were shaking. The email came this morning, she said. I didn't want to tell you before the party. He handed me the screen. Congratulations. We are pleased to inform you. I couldn't breathe. You got in? I whispered. She nodded. I did. I pulled the car over without even thinking, threw my seatbelt off and wrapped my arms around her. We cried together on the side of the road. All those years of tutoring. The late nights. The frustration. The tears over homework. All of it mattered. All of it led here. The next week was chaos. My parents called non-stop. Voicemails. Texts. Messages filled with apologies. I didn't answer. They showed up at my house 3 days later. Emma was at school. I let them in, but I didn't offer coffee. I didn't sit. My father handed me an envelope. We changed the estate plan, he said quickly. We're splitting everything equally. Sophia and Emma. I didn't even open it. I handed it back. She doesn't want it. My mother looked stunned. What do you mean she doesn't want it? She doesn't need your money, I said. She needed your respect. Your belief. Dad's voice cracked. How do we fix this? I looked him straight in the eye. You don't fix it with money. My mother wiped her tears. We'll do anything. Then start by learning, I said. Really learning. About dyslexia. About what you did to her. They nodded desperately. And apologize, I added. Not excuses. Not we didn't know. A real apology. They promised. Emma left for MIT 2 weeks later. She's the youngest student in the program. She calls me every night, excited, inspired, happy. My parents are trying now. Therapy. Books. Letters. Emma read their apology card last week. He smiled a little. She's not ready to forgive them yet. Maybe someday. But she knows something now she didn't before. She knows she's brilliant. And that changes everything. In the final part, I'll tell you how this story truly ends, and why being different turned out to be Emma's greatest strength. Don't go anywhere. Emma is at MIT right now. Every night she calls me from her dorm room, her voice buzzing with excitement. Mom, today we tested water samples from 3 different rivers. Mom, my mentor says my design could actually help rural communities. Mom, I finally feel like I belong. And every time she says that, I have to blink back tears. She's the youngest student in the program. 12 years old, surrounded by kids years older than her, and she's thriving. My parents, they're trying. After that day, something finally cracked in them. They started reading books about dyslexia. They met with specialists. They even began therapy, to understand why they measured worth by grades and trophies instead of effort and heart. They send Emma letters now. Real ones. Handwritten. In one of them, my mother wrote, "We were wrong. We didn't see you. We didn't listen. And we are so sorry." Emma read that card quietly. She didn't cry. She didn't smile much either. But she folded it carefully and put it in her drawer. "It's a start," she said. And that was enough for me. Forgiveness isn't owed. Trust isn't automatic. And healing doesn't run on anyone else's timeline. What matters is this. Emma no longer asks me if she's stupid. She no longer apologizes for taking longer to read. She no longer shrinks when someone praises Sophia. She no longer believes she's less. She understands something now that took my parents 40 years to learn. Different doesn't mean dumb. It means your brain takes a path most people don't understand. It means you see patterns others miss. It means creativity, depth, resilience. The very thing they used to label her, that dyslexia they dismissed, is the same thing that taught her persistence, problem-solving, and empathy. The world didn't need another perfect test taker. It needed Emma. And if you're listening to this thinking of your own child, or yourself, someone who was ever told they were too slow, not smart enough, or just average, please hear me when I say this. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not less. You're just wired differently. And sometimes, that difference is exactly what changes everything. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end of this story. If this meant something to you, please tap the like button. It truly helps more stories like this reach the right people. Subscribe if you believe real stories deserve real voices. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? USA, UK, Canada, Australia. I read every single one. Remember this. Different doesn't mean dumb. Sometimes it means extraordinary. Take care, Blue Heart.